This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by Fourth Terrace Diagnostic Center.
Welcome to sports, everybody. Sports playing a prominent role in the House of Assembly yesterday as tributes continued for Cecil Rose, Gus Cooper, and King Eric Gibson. Sports Minister Dr. Daniel Johnson spoke about all three gentlemen, starting with Cecil Rose, whose memorial he attended last weekend in Houston, Texas.
It struck me when the pastor was eulogizing him, and he said that although he had known Cecil for 30 or 40 years, said he didn't know all the stuff that Cecil had done. He knew him for years, and he just didn't know all the stuff that Cecil had done. Says the amazing thing about Cecil never spoke about himself. Cecil spent all his time speaking about how great all the people around him were. Cecil Rose, Mr. Speaker, was joined by some great men in his career. And it's interesting, in his memorial, they all came out. The entire Fly Slammer Jammer fraternity. Moses Malone, Ernest Birdsong, Clyde the Glide Drexler, and even his world-famous coach, Guy Lewis. And Otis Birdsong said at his memorial he had to ask Cecil to ease up. He said he recruited Cecil to Houston. And after about 4 practices, Birdsong said, Cecil, okay, I recruit you here. You weren't supposed to be beating me, man.
Now, when talking about Gus Cooper, Minister Johnson remembered a man who wore various hats in the sporting arena.
Mr. Cooper was also the second director of sports in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, and served in 1987 after that for 20 years. And during his tenure, he served as the administrative chairman of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Bahama Games, which will return to the Bahamas next year. Vincent Gus Cooper has achieved many noteworthy milestones, which I will chronicle on an occasion to memorialize him. The largest of which is that he was a pioneering sportsman, served as the Commonwealth Games coach, Pan American Games coach, chairman of the B3As.
As for King Eric Gibson, Minister Johnson says his legacy in the sport of sloop sailing is set alongside all the other greats who came before him.
King Eric, along with the greats like Captain Rolly Gray, Hezron Moxie, have put sailing, sloop sailing, and regattas on the map, on the hearts and minds of Bahamians forever. The Speaker will also be coming to this House in the following weeks to ask that sailing be debated and approved as the national sport of the Bahamas.
Now, with the passing of King Eric Gibson, there is a big void left at the regatta desk, and Minister V. Alfred Gray says a replacement consultant will be named in due time.
You have special bred sailors in Exuma. You have special bred sailors in Long Island. And quite frankly, if I were to be honest, you have special bred sailors all over our country. And I want to go on record as saying finding a consultant is not difficult. The only problem with a family island consultant perhaps will be getting to Nassau to come to see me once a week. Because we meet every week to plan regattas throughout the Bahamas. That's why we try to select people who don't have that incapacity of travel. They right there in Nassau, and they could, by a telephone call, show up for a 4 o'clock meeting with a 15-20 minutes notice. I just want to say that for the record. I have not selected, I have not even asked, because, King Eric ain't buried yet, I ain't even thinking about that. That's far from my mind.
From the pro basketball ranks last night, Tapulong Honka, no match for the league leaders in the Finnish Chorus Liga, the Nylon Bisons. They went down 103-64. Jaron Kino Burrows finishing up with 15 points and 9 rebounds in 27 minutes of play. Still talking hoops, New Province Basketball Association back in action last night at the AF Adderley Gym. The Island Luck Pros and Pyramid Food Rockets taking to the court first in the opening game of a doubleheader. Early on this one, back and forth, the score tied 22-all at the end of the first quarter. The Rockets, they took a slight advantage in the second and went up 49-45 at the half. In the second half, though, it was all about the Pros. They outscored the Rockets 50-35 en route to a 95-84 victory. Livingston Munnings had a monster game in the win, 29 points and 21 boards. Derek Ferguson, Lorenzo Carter adding 15 points apiece for the Rockets. Tamiko Moxie scored a side-high 21. Henderson Curry followed with 18. Barry Carter had 17, while Kevin Hinsey, he followed with 10. As for the feature game last night, Double R Services Cleaners, they had their way with the Defense Force Marines winning 83-67. Lenny Oscar led the Cleaners with 27 points and 13 rebounds. For the Marines, Otis Ferguson, he finished up with a side-high 15. New Province Volleyball Association, they were back in action last night following the Christmas break. Up first in ladies play, the Scottsdale Vixens maintained a perfect record with a straight sets win over the Central Gas Cougars, 25-18, 29-27, and 25-15. Charisse Bain led all scorers in the win, 13 kills and an ace. Her sister, Christelle Brown, assisted with 4 blocks, while Laval Sands added 9 digs and 22 assists. In the loss for the Cougars, Avani Seymour finishing up with 9 kills and 2 blocks. As for the men's feature game, the Technicians, they also won in straight sets over the champions, 25-21, 26-24, and 25-15. Ronaldo Knowles leading all scorers in the win, 16 kills and 3 aces. In the loss, Douglas Roll, he tallied 4 kills, 5 blocks, 2 digs, and an ace. Tomorrow's matches have been postponed to observe the majority rule holiday, and action picks back up again on Sunday. Nassau Valley 8 Ball Association, they had action last night as well. The Eliminators took down the Club 30 Predators 126-82. Chesapeake Bad Boys, they got past the Captain Vinny Cruisers 124-97. Hollywood Destroyers, they won over the Underdogs 118-107. The Sneaky Hustlers, they were also in action, losing to the Q Club Shockers 121-101. Elsewhere last night, we can tell you the Club 30 Assassins, they went down to the Broken Arrow Spartans 120-107. Arnett Sporting Lounge, Big Six, they got the best of the Chesapeake Bowlers 121-110. The Unknowns fell to the Fantastics 127-103, and the Arnett Stingers took care of Over 40 and Sporting 118-105. And that will do it for sports, but stay tuned, there's more to come after the break.
This is ZNS Total Sports, brought to you by 4th Terrace Diagnostic Center.